A fresh round of rockets targeting already battered Ashkelon. It's one of the closest Israeli cities to the border with Gaza, and now this is their new normal. This is not a war, this is a massacre, a resident says. And in the border town of Be'eri, the sentiment is the same.
This is a massacre, it's pogrom.
This kibbutz was one of the first targets when Hamas militants launched their surprise attack. The bodies of more than 100 people have been found. They, along with Australian grandmother Gilit Carbone, were killed by gunmen who stormed into their homes. Just kilometres away, Israel has been bombing Gaza in response. Already overwhelmed hospitals are now at breaking point. Inside, doctors struggle with increasing casualties along with dwindling supplies. After Israel ordered a complete siege of Gaza, halting the entry of food, water, fuel and medicine.
The Palestinian health system has the rest of the week before it collapses, not just because of the diesel. All supplies are running short.
The only power station is now out of fuel. Private generators and the glow from airstrikes light the sky instead. The bombings have also killed staff from the Palestinian Red Crescent. 4 paramedics were killed when their ambulance was hit. The UN also confirmed 11 of its workers fell victim to Israeli airstrikes this week.
UN staff are working around the clock to support the people of Gaza, and I deeply regret that some of my colleagues have already paid the ultimate price.
As pressure grows for humanitarian corridors and aid, Israel's Prime Minister announced an emergency war cabinet to double down on his country's operation.
Every Hamas member is a dead man. Hamas is ISIS, and it will be crushed and eliminated, just as the world crushed and eliminated ISIS.
His ally, Joe Biden, met Jewish leaders at the White House.
I would argue it's the deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust.
And told them of his grief.
I never really thought that I would see and have confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children.
The White House later clarified the president hadn't seen such pictures, and his comments were based on Israeli media and officials' reports. They first emerged when soldiers told reporters about them at the scene of one of the massacres. The country has now mobilised hundreds of thousands of reservists and massed additional forces near Gaza. For some soldiers, though, there's already the grim task of burying a friend. Yedidia Raziel was a husband, a father of 2, and part of the first response team when Hamas broke through the border. I hope your children will grow up to follow in your path, his father says. According to Jewish custom, he should have been buried the day he died, but the scale of Hamas's assault has made that impossible. There are simply so many people to bury here in Israel that there's simply not enough time or enough space for people to grieve the way they would ordinarily like to. Just as one funeral ends, another one is about to begin. In a time of darkness, Israelis are trying to find the light. Gathering on their balconies to sing their national anthem. But it won't drown out the sound of war. Nick Dole, ABC News, Jerusalem.
It's mid-morning in the Middle East now. John Lyons joins us from Israel. John, is there any further sign of the next step in Israel's response?
Jeremy, Israel is clearly preparing for the possibility of a ground war with Gaza. In fact, I think it could be as early as this weekend. They have recalled 360,000 army reservists who have all turned up now, reported for work. And along that border with Gaza, they are massing those troops, those tanks and artillery. Meanwhile, on the northern border, they're also preparing for the possibility that Hezbollah may try to take advantage of this crisis. There's been skirmishing across that border, so they're preparing for the possibility, the Israeli army, of fighting on 2 fronts. And in Gaza, meanwhile, last night was the first night it was blacked out. The power has been cut and the Israelis have stopped any food or water or medicines going in. So there's a humanitarian crisis looming there. Clearly, the tensions now and the war is getting worse by the hour.